As I have covered, the world has had to deal with the passing of Pope Francis, but this has consequently meant that a new pope is now residing in the Vatican. The newly elected pope is Cardinal Robert Prevost. He is the first pope in the history of the Catholic Church to be from the US, and he was born Robert Francis Prevost in Chicago, Illinois in 1955. However, he has spent a large portion of his life ministering in Peru, and is also a citizen of Peru. He has a diverse background with roots in Chicago and also having Haitian and Creole ancestry through family ties in Louisiana. Before he became Pope, he was the prefect of the dicastery for bishops, and he's also a specialist in mathematics and theology. His election is a historic event, as no American citizen has held the position of Pope before. This will show us who he is and how he compares to others. However, his previous actions have drawn lots of controversy. A significant source of it stems from accusations that Pope Leo the 14th, during his previous roles, mishandled allegations of sexual abuse against priests, specifically concerns about how he regarded his time in both the US and Peru. Groups representing survivors of clerical sexual abuse have called for thorough investigations into his past actions. There are accusations that he did not properly investigate multiple allegations made against priests. Talk about blasphemy laws has reached a new peak because of a new case. Hamit Kuskun, aged 50 and living in Derby, was charged after burning a copy of the Quran outside the Turkish consulate in London back in February. He was initially charged with a religiously aggravated public order offence, specifically intending to cause harassment, alarm, or distress against the religious institution of Islam. The charge was later amended by the Crown Prosecution Service, or CPS, who admitted that the initial wording was incorrectly applied. The new charge is for disorderly behaviour, likely to cause harassment, alarm, or distress to individuals within sight or hearing. Mr. Koskan stated his actions were a protest against the President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and in solidarity with Salwan Momika, who was killed in Sweden after burning Qurans. His trial for the amended charge is scheduled for Westminster Magistrates Court on May 28th. Many speculate, however, that if he had done something against Christianity, no one would even think to say harassing Christianity, which makes people anxious about what the future holds. There is now a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, announced yesterday, on Saturday, May 10th, following a period of heightened tensions and military exchanges. This has been covered before in the last video. India and Pakistan is a very, very contentious subject. The ceasefire, though, was reportedly brokered through the mediation efforts of the US and other countries. US President Donald Trump announced the agreement, stating it was full and immediate. Both India and Pakistan confirmed the agreement to halt military actions in land, air, and sea. The aim was to de-escalate the most serious military confrontation between the two nuclear-armed neighbours in decades. India's claims are that there were more repeated violations of the ceasefire agreement by Pakistan, according to the Foreign Secretary. Just after hours it was announced, reported gunfire in the Aknor sector of Jammu and Kashmir and sightings of multiple drones near the border. He emphasized that Indian forces had been instructed to respond firmly to any further breaches. Pakistan's claims are also from the Foreign Ministry and stated that its commitment to the ceasefire are stronger than what India is suggesting, but he accused India of violations in some areas. They urged that any issues in the implementation of the ceasefire should be addressed through the communication at appropriate levels and called for restraints from troops on the land. Reports from the ground. Residents in Srinagar and Jammu in Indian-controlled Kashmir reported loud explosions and subsequent blackouts shortly after the ceasefire agreement. There were also reported explosions in the border town of Jaisalmer and blackouts in several districts of western Rajasthan in India. The initial ceasefire announcement was met with relief and even celebrations in some border areas, with residents hoping for a return to normalcy. However, reports from experts have expressed caution about the fragility of the truce, given that deep-rooted issues and the history of mistrust between the two nations. Some analysts believe the ceasefire is a temporary measure that doesn't address the underlying causes of the conflict. The UN and several countries, including the UK, though, have welcomed the ceasefire and urged both sides to uphold the agreement. New Indian workers may be exempt from paying national insurance contributions. That and a number of other things about immigration have been hot this week. The government aims to reduce reliance on lower-skilled overseas labour with stricter time limits for visas in these categories. There is also, therefore, a focus on boosting domestic skills training to fill labour shortages. Significant adjustments to the income requirements of family visas impacting those seeking to bring spouses or partners to the UK are being discussed, as well as the implementation and adjustments to the ETA or Electronic Travel Authorization Scheme, affecting travellers from various countries. A focus on increased removals of these deemed to be in the UK without legal status is also being discussed. Businesses, particularly in those sectors reliant on overseas labour, are expressing concerns about the potential workforce shortages and economic disruption. There's a debate about balancing the need to control immigration with the need to support economic growth. Human rights organisations raise concerns about the impact of stricter policies on vulnerable individuals and families. There are discussions about the ethical implications of certain enforcement resources. Changes to visa rules and requirements raise concerns about the UK's attractiveness as a destination for international students, which contributes significantly to the economy. The government, though, emphasises the importance of ensuring that immigration policies promote social cohesion and integration. However, there are differing views on how best to achieve this. There are concerns about how the new rules will impact the NHS and the care sector, which rely heavily on overseas workers. The cost of living crisis is also in full swing this week. Inflation. While the annual inflation rate, Consumer Prices Index (CPI), says that it has come down to 2.6% in March 2025 from a higher peak. It still means that prices for goods and services are rising, albeit at a slower pace than before. Impacts on households. Many people in Birmingham, for example, and across the UK are still feeling the pinch. Even with easing inflation, the cumulative effect of past prices means household budgets remain stretched. YouGov polling in March 2025 indicated that a significant majority, 82% in fact, of Britons felt prices in shops were rising faster than their income. Essential costs. Energy bills are rising, food prices are rising. This eased slightly to 3% in March 2025, but it still contributes to the increased cost of weekly shopping. Houses costs have gone up, council tax and other bills have gone up. Responses from the government include no more cost of living payments. The UK government has stated that there will be no further widespread cost of living payments in 2025, similar to those issued between 2022 and 2024. Focus on universal credit changes includes a recent change to universal credits implemented at the end of April, which allows over 1 million households in debt to keep an average of £420 more of the benefits per year. There is also the HSF, or Household Support Fund, where the government has extended the Household Support Fund, providing £742 million to local councils to support low-income households, with essential costs like energy, food and water bills. Benefits has gone up, support with energy bills has gone up, despite the fact that the energy bills themselves have gone up, and there are more local council initiatives. While inflation is moderated, the focus remaining still on ensuring that this translates to a tangible improvement in people's living standards. Economic forecasts, however, suggest that inflation is expected to remain above the Bank of England's target for some time, despite all this, meaning the cost of living will likely remain a significant concern for the foreseeable future. Maybe this is pessimistic. What do you think? See you next time.